Hello everyone. So earlier this morning, I published a new blog post onto my website. And due to the nature of the subject, I wanted to be able to cover it over all platforms that SOULDUCATE is present on. The whole origination of my business, SOULDUCATE, was to surround myself with like-hearted people, soul seekers, and lovers of elevated consciousness. Although I did a blog post on the dark night of the soul, the experience goes a lot further and a lot deeper than what you are about to hear. Every piece of content I put out across all these SOULDUCATE platforms is 100% a personal breakthrough or 100% a personal experience of me integrating elevated consciousness into my life. If you personally think you are experiencing anything along the lines of the dark night of the soul, then please do hit that like button so I know. And speak up. Don't be afraid to speak out and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm experiencing. Is there anyone out there that can tell me any insights into what's going on? Yes, this journey is all about self-mastery, but it does not mean that any of us ever have to go at it alone. Before we get into the audio version of the blog post, I would like to say thank you for listening, and please do subscribe to the channel. And come follow us over on our Instagram community. So this is where we begin to sort of start figuring out what can we do within our life to get on that divinely guided path. We're all sent here for a particular purpose, and we are all more than capable of performing that particular purpose and following that designated life path. You can do yoga and breath work and meditation, but if you turn around and walk out of that class and tell someone to fuck off on the highway because they cut you off, then you have not adapted love and light into your life. Watch yoga, meditation, breath work, energy work. Those are all just icing on the cake of learning your true authenticity. You know, these videos posted on social media about how to treat your man, or how to be in a relationship, or how to level yourself up to meet your man's standards and tricks for maintaining a relationship. Please stop listening to all of that. Confusing, and all it does is keep your mind and heart in constant conflict. This life is not about learning mind tactics so you can control your man, or learning what outfit to wear to make yourself look important. Life is about finding your true authentic self. That is the only thing we need to focus on in order to allow ourselves to bring in the people and things that are meant to be a part of our life flow alignment. I am all about women growing to their greatest potential. At SOULDUCATE, we have a mailing list. Upon joining, you receive a free emotional maturity chart. This is the exact process I used in the beginning to sort of check myself. Like, if I'm having outbursts because of this, what level of maturity am I displaying? And how can I get to the higher level? I may be new to broadening my social media presence, but I'm not new to the journey of elevated consciousness. I've been going at this for years, and I've seen many, many things that I never would have imagined ever seen, or ever seen in my mind's eye even, of what's possible when you begin to integrate this work and when you begin to become aware of what's going on inside of you. My dream is for SOULDUCATE to become the basis of women developing their own self-worth. I want everyone to realize that this is your journey, and women overall do tend to get depressed faster because we do everything with our emotions. But the women are the ones who put their emotional energy out there. We are the nurturers. We are the caretakers. We are the givers. But what happens to us when we have nurtured and cared and given to everyone else so long in our lives that we have forgotten to do the same for ourselves. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this here audio clip of my blog post from this morning. And yes, definitely, if you are experiencing anything along the lines, if you are having a hard time coping, you're feeling alone, you don't know what's going on, you have all this anxiety and tension and frustration inside of you, reach out to somebody. When you sign up for the mailing list, you will get information back on how to reach me privately. If needed, we can work together one-on-one. I do have an option for that. And I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.
Do you want to know? Well, I've been thinking about you, and I think you'll have to listen, because the sun is up, it's a beautiful day. My beginning will be as bright as the sun. Come, won't you come along? And it feels so bright, it's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart, doesn't matter how far. There is so much love to give, something's telling me this time. Baby, baby, now I know.
Hello, my name is Ray Ramsey. I am the owner and developer of SOULDUCATE LLC, and this is my story of the dark night of the soul. If you found this blog post, then it is safe to say that you, my dear, were guided here. The current frequency of the planet is calling the collective into a spiritual awakening. This is a sanity check for all those souls that have been placed on this earth to lead everyone into elevating their consciousness. You are probably experiencing some elevation symptoms now and unaware of the origination. You may just be coming out on the other end of certain parts of the process, or you may be heading that way and Spirit wants you to be aware of what's to come. No matter the placement in the journey, this story I'm about to share should find you well. Anyone this isn't for, I'm sure, has already left the building by now. So for everyone still with me, let's go on a little journey into the dark night of the soul. What is the dark night of the soul? Also known as spiritual depression, or as I like to refer to it as the dark night of the ego. This occurs once we have awakened to our true divinity. Everything will seemingly be going wrong. You lose things such as jobs, friends, family members, and other relationships. The experiences during this time will be some of the hardest experiences yet to come into your life, both physically and emotionally. This part of the process is waking you up to your shadow self, your egoic self. You see what needs to be worked on, and you become extremely resilient in the end. This is the death of your old self, so that your true self can come alive to fulfill your higher purpose. This is very much real, and when it hits you, you will feel so alone, so discarded, and so immobile. Unfortunately, some do not pass through the barrier due to never reaching that level of awareness to see what is really going on. Sadly, this sort of situation can result in suicide, addiction, violence, or other self-sabotaging behaviors. Other people around may perceive you as depressed, distant, or even schizophrenic. I want to add a little disclaimer before we go any further. Do not hesitate to contact a medical professional to rule out any underlying conditions. Once you are able to rule out anything physical, then it is time to go inward. The number one sign is being told over and over again by doctors that everything is normal, but yet you do not feel normal. If everything is normal, please do not use pharmaceuticals to mask your symptoms. Let's tap into the real healing. Moving on with the story. I was fortunate enough to be divinely guided into enlightenment through a series of events. Side note, At the time, the word enlightenment wasn't even part of my vocabulary. Just so happened I had a free Saturday and my mom wanted to go check something out. I live in a very small town in Missouri, so when something new comes to town, people get eager to poke around. My mom had been telling me about this yoga barn event space that a couple had opened on their property, and she was wanting to check it out. At the time, I was mid physical therapy, working on recovering from a crazy cycle of unknown or normal medical issues. After a manic run through of specialist tests and scans, I was eventually diagnosed with myofascial pain syndrome, which I think was just something for the doc to say, here's a diagnosis, and here's 5 prescriptions for you to take daily, which I never did go pick up. Needless to say, I had no yearning to take my ass to a yoga studio. I had a crazy arrangement of symptoms, including weak, jittery muscles, electrical body surges, extreme heat up my spine, vertigo, inflammation, involuntary body movements when I was lying in bed, sleeplessness due to the feeling of falling in a black hole every time I started to fall asleep, forceful body pulls to the point of having to hold on to something as if I was going to be pulled down. Along with all these and other weird shit my body was experiencing, it was pretty challenging and often painful getting out of bed each morning. So getting into downward dog was definitely not on my radar. Let's fast forward a couple weeks. I had this thought in my head that if I stayed this way, it would be okay because my husband would take care of me. I had been going at this thing solo the entire time, going by myself to doctor's appointments, scans, follow-ups. He was present for 2 emergency room visits, but still made sure I got to that job number 2 each night. One night before getting into bed, I asked him if he could rub the muscle relief oil on my shoulders and my upper back. I had got a very heavy sigh and a careless globbing and slopping of the oil onto my back. With that one small situation there, and a collective of other ones that had been kind of going on since I had got ill, I am completely convinced that was God's way of saying, "Nuh-uh, girl, I hear what you're thinking, and no, being content like this is not an option." So my mom started coming to my house in the evenings and massaging the muscle relief oil into my back. With what I was going through, my muscles were so tightened, I couldn't even reach my arms behind my head. So she helped me out with that, and I made it my main mission to get myself full functioning again. Moving forward 1 month later, I completed my physical therapy. I adapted to a normal daily at-home routine of those same therapies and added in some extra stretching techniques that I had found online and on YouTube. I was doing it. I was getting better. Stairs and hills still made me nervous, but every day was getting better. Remember the barn? So the owner of the barn had made a post on social media about hosting a 30-minute guided meditation session free for anyone who wanted to participate. Meditation was something I was just becoming familiar with. I didn't do it regularly, and frankly, I had an incredibly hard time getting myself into a state of stillness long enough to complete a meditation. Me, Mom, and my son made our venture to this meditation session to check out the barn. What I experienced was the start of my awareness of spiritual insights and divine downloads. During the guided meditation, she went through the process of grounding and centering. One of the things we were guided to focus on was something we needed to bring into our lives. For the first time, I had fallen into a state of coherent hypnosis. Although my eyes were closed, I was seeing colors and movement so pretty that I didn't want to open my eyes. I felt really good, like when someone plays with your hair and it feels so soothing you start to doze off. When she guided us to bring into awareness a focal point for improvement into our lives, this is what I saw. This beautiful, flowery mandala effect with all the purples and the blues and the bright colors. And this word appeared right in the middle of my vision. It just said clarity. After leaving that meditation session, we chatted briefly with the instructor about her yoga class. She said, well, it's a different kind of yoga. It's called Kundalini yoga, and it's more of a meditative style yoga. I had no clue what Kundalini was, but after that I had just experienced, meditation yoga sounded really good to me. My first Kundalini yoga class experience. I don't want to talk too much about Kundalini. My next blog post will be more for that. But this Kundalini yoga class was where I had my first experience of spiritual purge. The class was in the dark. There were water reflective lights glimmering onto the ceiling. We started with slow paced breathing, stretching, and then moved into a more rapid series of breathing and body movements, while loud high frequency music played on the speakers. After the rapid series of movements and breathing, we came into the child's pose. And as I sobbed uncontrollably with my face on the ground, I realized I had just surrendered. My spine was on fire, and I had the odd feeling of dying, but never being more alive. In the Kundalini post, I will explain what exactly causes these certain sensations. Some people do Kundalini to nurture their energy, and some people are experiencing an actual Kundalini awakening, which is essentially the old self dying, so that the true higher self can come through. All of these events as a collective were the beginning phase of my dark night of the soul. What I did not realize is that my egoic self was dying. What I thought I knew as myself was dying. I was being forced to recognize how I was living my life, how I was corrupting myself, how I was loving myself and others, and how I was not living my true divine path. God was guiding me, and it was up to me to decide to surrender or to go against the guidance. As you can imagine, I chose to surrender. As I mentioned, this was just the beginning. It wasn't until about a year later that I was actually hearing my guides and angels. I learned how to connect to the spirit world and receive direct communication. This communication can be extremely confusing to distinguish at first, because it pretty much just sounds like your own thoughts inside your head. Adapting to regular meditation and rituals allowed me to be able to determine the difference. I began doing research and educating myself on spiritual awakening, Kundalini awakening, dark night of the soul, and anything else around elevated consciousness that I could find. I joined spiritual groups that resonated with me. I took courses to work with professionals on chakras, spirit guides, breathing, and deep trauma work. And I continued Kundalini yoga with a new group of ladies. Since May of 2017, I have experienced a total of 5 dark night of the soul purges, along with 2 Kundalini awakenings. The second one was a lot less painful as the first. Over this course of time, the divine placed me in the path of a twin flame relationship. Just when I thought my breakthroughs were tapering off, the twin flame journey brought up a lot more than I could have ever imagined. Through my spiritual practices, I was led to remembering my roots as a witch, and have openly claimed witchcraft as an everyday practice, honoring the elements of universe and earth from all angles, along with calling in divine love and light to embrace my entire life and the life of my loved ones. Over time, I have eliminated toxicity in all forms of people and things. I used to wish for my ex to face karma in the most intense manner. And of course that will be done, because truth be told, we all face our karma in the most intense way. One day, after an extremely frustrating interaction, instead of stewing over it, I decided to start sending him love and protection. And in turn, I was protecting myself. My self-worth became extremely strong, and I became unfuckwithable. Although I still have to interact, eliminating that toxic mindset also further strengthened my relationship with my son. One choice to surrender has changed my life. One choice at a time to choose love over hate has changed my life. One choice to become aware of my toxic emotional maturity changed my life. One choice to believe that I was deserving of true love changed my life. One choice to keep going forward changed my life. One choice to integrate divine love and light changed my life. One choice to stop worrying about what others thought changed my life. All it takes is one choice at a time. It's not easy. In fact, it is quite debilitating at times. This is my last life on earth. I know this is true. People say, live like it's your last day on earth. But I say, live like it's your last life on earth. What changes would you need to make to secure your spot to live all of eternity with our Heavenly Father? Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.